So it's kind of like one of these little subtleties about policy is that on paper, it's, oh, you're making homelessness illegal. And well, it is, but that's not how it is enacted in reality. It's an access point for us to come out and say, hey, you're not allowed to camp here, but we do have a shelter. We will help you take all your things, put you in the back of the car, drive you over there, and take all your things with you, which is a real gift to some people who have two shopping carts full of belongings, um, and get you all the services that you need to ultimately get you into stable housing. And we have homeless outreach coordinators that are sent out to talk to people. It takes about 13 points of contact for somebody to agree to a change. And we go out 13 times. We go out 14, 15 times and say, are you sure? And if they keep refusing, then we say, we have to move.
So that 13 number is interesting because I could make this up, but I'm pretty sure I heard somewhere like if you're just trying to sell something to someone, it takes 13 points of contact also.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I heard that.
Yes. Like, it's a higher number. Yeah. I mean, because a lot of people, they get comfortable with their living, right? I mean, they get
Well,
used.
they're independent. No
Yeah.
one's telling them what to do, you know? And when you go into a shelter, even though it's a no barrier shelter, you can't break the law.
Yeah.
And there's certain things you just can't do. And I think you have to be a team player. I mean, that's one of the hardest things in society is to be a team player. There's a lot of people I know who struggle with that. And so somebody who's in a crisis of sorts is going to struggle even more than that. So it's probably not top on their list. Now, if you have somebody who's just yesterday lost their housing, they're going to jump at the opportunity to get into housing any way, shape, or form. And so that's a very different situation. So there's a lot of different scenarios
A lot of
going on.
nuances and like different things going on. Each person's different. Each
Yeah,
situation is different.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And different ages, right? You handle things differently at different ages. But I'll tell you, we do have a men's homeless shelter in Bellevue. We also have supportive housing, which offers full services on site to anybody who lives there, whether it's job training, counseling, drug rehabilitation. They offer medical services. We partner with Redmond and Kirkland. Kirkland does women's shelters, and Redmond does um, like teenage
Okay.
and young adult shelters. So we all work together to try to provide what the community needs. But I'll tell you, I do a ton of preventative work. I do a ton of preventative work, and that's one thing I'd like to see more around everywhere in the country is, it's so much more affordable to stop someone from becoming homeless. It costs like $1,000. And to take someone out of homelessness and get them into stable housing costs $1 million. And so it makes far more sense to try to identify people before they become homeless who are in crisis for whatever reason and try to figure out what's going on. And so we've been able to do that at the school level because we have agencies that work with families. And so a family will come in and say, we're not going to be able to afford rent next month. And so the machine kicks in, everybody starts working
Yeah.
toward how to make this family stable because um, the biggest the the heart the what is it what do I want to say um, biggest impediment to early childhood learning is stress, and the biggest stressor in a child's life is unstable housing. So if you allow families to be in this situation where they're moving all the time, or they're sometimes living in the car, sometimes couch surfing, the kids just can't learn. They really can't. And so that's not great for them, and that's not great for our future. So it really behooves everybody to try to do everything we can to make these kids' lives stable so that they can learn and they can go on to jobs after they graduate.
How much do you think it is people having an ego, right? For example, if I was homeless, I have plenty of people I could ask for help. but I wouldn't ask anyone, right? I have too much pride, too much ego, right? How many do you think is like people having too much ego and pride to ask someone in their family or friends that, hey, I'm down on my luck. Can you help me?
I think that that's part of it for a little bit,
Mm.
but I wouldn't say that's
Okay.
probably the majority. We do have a safe parking program for families, and we've gotten a lot of families who are in that situation,
Okay.
who all they're paying for a rental truck, and everything they own is in the truck, and they're just, doing everything they can to get back into housing, and they don't want anyone to know. And so they can go into our safe parking program, and they have a building that has like a living room, and they have a wardrobe for the kids, and they have services, and they go out and they try to help the parents navigate how to get back into stable housing.
Another thing I don't think people think of, like someone loses their house or apartment, whatever, they have no address. Usually to apply for a job, you have to have an address, right? So
Oh,
like,
exactly.
and they're going to catch
They don't
22.
even have a pen.
Yeah.
They don't,
And it gets worse and worse for
it's
them.
so bad, but I mean, to be fair, only 10% of the housing in Bellevue was affordable to anyone earning less than 80% of the area median income. That's a pretty high rent. And so, let's say you've got this job and then you lose your job and you're getting half the pay. Does that mean you no longer can live in your city? There's no choice for you. So the micro housing, the attached dwelling units, detached dwelling units, the affordable housing, we should have the full spectrum of housing types and affordabilities in the city so people can slide up and down the ladder.
So before we move on, anything else you want to talk about the Bellevue plan for a house and affordable house? Anything else with this subject before we move on?
I think I've pretty much exhausted it.
Okay. Okay, cool. Next, before you were mayor, you actually own your own physical therapy business, correct? For like 20 years. Can
Mhm.
you talk about being a small business owner and how that helped you be a mayor,
Oh, I don't know if it
if it did
helped
help
me.
you?
I don't know if it helped me be a mayor. If you want me to talk about my experience, I
Yes.
can.
Yeah, please.
So I was a physical therapist, and when I had kids, I really wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but I also had worked so hard to get to this level because I'm a manual therapist that it wasn't something I could just stop doing if I ever wanted to go back to it.